Hello and welcome to Relief Printmaking. We're going to be working on this at school, Relief Printmaking. Relief just basically means there is a carved surface as you're doing your printmaking or making copies. Now, students have been focusing on classical elements such as water, fire, earth, and then even air. Um, and with that, they're starting to create. They created sketches first, a series of sketches, chose their best one, and then they put it onto pieces of this carving rubber surface. It's just like a big old, um, like an eraser that you would use to kind of erase graphite or pencil lead. All right, so we're also going to focus on this idea of negative and positive shape or space. And what that basically means, you have to just be really aware of what's the part that you want to have stand out ultimately when you make your print. So with that in mind, let's get started. So I started to draw with just regular pencils. Most students have done this up to this point. They've drawn their design. Now you need to figure out what's the part that you want to have be raised up and what's the part that you want to remove. So I'm just going to move some of these off to the side here for a second. So let's check it out. If I were to create a positive shape, now a positive shape is essentially, okay, it's the shape that stands out first. So if you have a particular shape that you want to stand out, you would carve around that whole area. So the carving tools that we've got here, remember they've got little V channels. Here's a kind of a bigger V channel. Here's a smaller V channel. Remember, we want to practice on the back side. Okay, it's just nice little gentle motions. Remember, you're never carving towards your hand like this. You always want to have your hand on the backside and then be carving away from you. Okay, no 911 calls. Okay, please and thank you. All right, so for example, if I wanted that shape to stand out, what I'm going to do, I'm going to start to carve away the area around that basic shape. So here we go. As I carve away, carve away. Now, I could just do it in the spiral pattern until I get it in the to a finished point that I'd like. Okay. Some people even like to carve in up and down kinds of patterns, hoping that some of that texture might come out. Okay. That's how I did it actually in this one right here. So you can see this is the shape that stands out. And then I carved it. Now, I did do quick little prints, and I did this as a way, I did this just actually with a Crayola marker. And it's just one of those tricks of printmaking. So check it out. Okay, this is the shape that's going to stand out. I'm going to take the piece of paper, just a regular piece of paper, and just gently give it a little rub, and voila, there's my print. So that would be the positive shape. Okay, let's look to see, maybe I don't want that part to stand out. Okay, so let's stick with that same idea of a circle. Okay, maybe I want that to be the negative shape. So what I would do, I would carve on the inside of that. Now again, this is going to be a little bit harder, smaller area, but you're always going to be wanting to carve away from yourself. And a kid described the process of carving like this. It's almost like you're scooping ice cream. Okay, that's like perfect room temperature. Okay, now I will be honest. If you were to just do a print of this, it looks kind of boring in the background, and we don't have any pattern. Remember, pattern is a big part of this. Pattern showing texture. Okay. Now, what I'm going to do, I'm going to actually just make small little flecks in the background. I could even do lines, whatever works best with your particular design. Go for it. Maybe I'll try to make some smaller ones, some shorter. Okay, again, odd numbers of things tend to look best, but having some, oh, this is going to look good. It's okay if some of those little flecks are gone. Okay. Now, all of these little bits right here, we'll just make sure that those get to the garbage afterwards. Okay, here we go. Okay, I'm going to color this in with a marker just to see what actually shows up. Okay, it also helps you to figure out, are your lines deep enough that you've cut? I'm going to grab that same sheet of paper. Let's do a quick little print. Oh, now that tells me that I probably didn't get enough ink on there. So let's just try it one more time. I'll tell you what, I'm going to actually switch colors. Let's see if that makes a difference. Oh, good. Hopefully it won't dry before I make the print. Okay. Okay, and get the corners. We'll do this even when we do printmaking with printmaking ink. Aha, there we go. So you can see the difference between whether you do these are the negative prints, and then here are the positive prints. So let's go ahead, let's get carving, figure out which one you're going to do, the negative or the positive, which parts are going to stand out. Remember, safety first. You're always going to cut away from your hand, and then just make sure that we clean up our space when we're done. All right, let's get started.